So we've got our untitled spreadsheet of goodly godliness, and we're going to call this the Brian MMO scorecard. The Brian MMO scorecard. And in the left corner, we are going to have FFXIV. No, not VI. Not VI. Don't do that. Don't do that. And we are going to have FFXIV. In the right corner, we are going to have New World. Oh my gosh, it's the newest world. It has so many letters. It has 2 words. It's east of Eorzea. They're in the same, they're both on, oh my gosh, how do I change this to dark mode? View, How do I change this to dark mode? Just tell me how, and we'll do it. And so, the first column that we have is the player. I always like spreadsheets. I do dark mode in a lot of things. I like spreadsheets in white, but I'm willing to do this. It's an extension? Oh, come on. I don't need an extension. I'm a full-grown man, and I'm proud of myself and the white spreadsheets that I have. Player economy was number 1. Player economy. And we're going to back this up over here. We're going to make these things super big. We could make the cells bigger, but let's not do that. Let's not do that. So, let's just abuse this. We're abusing, this is just a piece of paper that happens to have grids on it because it makes me more comfortable. So we have our player economy. The second thing we have is class variety. That was the second thing we have. How do you play the game? And Guild Wars is like, but we call them professions. Don't do that. Don't do that. That means something else. All right. And we have our open world. How immersive is the world? Can it be like the World of Warcraft where the true star of the show looking back is the world itself? Can it do that? And we have the open world. And then we're going to call this casual BIS? Because it's a well beyond BIS. It's all rewards from all things. Not because I want to just swipe my credit card and be handed things, but because I want the things I do in video games to give me the rewards I want from said video games. And I don't like the idea that the only reward I want is locked behind content I like, and the only content I like is not giving me the rewards I want. Help me, help you, mostly help me. The next category is, I believe, challenging. Oh no, we have gone down in font size. Hold on. Challenging dungeons. Dungeons that slay. Oh man, I don't think we can have that in a YouTube video. Just dungeon danger. Dungeon danger. I don't think we can put the kill. I don't think that's good. I think that's how I don't get monetized. And I do this full time. So thank you guys for engaging with sponsors like Rogue Energy and Huel. I use them for all of my like nutrition and hydration and caffeine, and they're amazing. Now we've got dungeon danger. And then we've got PvP-ish as our bonus category. We have category 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and a bonus category. Now, we are going to be scoring everything 1 out of 10, according to Brian, according to what he is looking for from these things. So we are going to be using an objective measure, kind of laid over with his opinion, because this is, remember, this is not just, are these games different from one another, but if they are different from one another, which one is best at satisfying what Brian is looking for? Now, within the player economy, Brian is looking for something that allows more materials to move in more ways at more times. Final Fantasy does do this, but they only do it to about a 3 out of 10. A 3 out of 10. They really aren't good at it. They just aren't. The retainer system is clumsy. The market board is clumsy. World visit and data center visit, for as incredible as they are to before that, they aren't just instant. And ultimately, the amount of things that you can craft every single day and provide value, the player economy, honestly, you can't just buy and sell everything, and not everything that you make and find sells, and it just doesn't always feel like Gil has a use. It doesn't. I agree with that. New World, however, according to Brian, he feels that because of things like garlic, he feels that there is value in this, and he is going to score this very, very high. Now, I am also trying to base this in my own experience, trying to move a little bit of the emotion from what we've just experienced out of this. And I would say that in New World, my experience with just interacting with the market boards, especially as I've watched them mature and the way they interact with each other and the way the teleports, the game is a moving target. I think that it is probably like an 8. I do. I think it's 7 or an 8. 7 or an 8? I don't know. Let's give it a 7. Let's round it down. We're Team Final Fantasy. Let's shift our bias in there. Now, within class variety, we are talking about patch 6.2 is the current patch. That means Final Fantasy gets a big whopping 1. A big whopping 1. The closest chance to build variety is to change to a different class within the same role, unless you happen to like a class that holds a gun. And in New World, what do we have? We have some class variety. Now, that class variety, there is still going to be a meta. This is not something where it is like Diablo, where you spend most of the time by yourselves. Action RPGs crush this category. Solo player RPGs like Elder Scrolls or Cyberpunk crush this category. Those are your 10s. So an MMORPG, because you have to interact with other players, can never, ever, 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 ever match something where you don't have to worry about holding other players back. So unfortunately, I think you did amazing things, but it's just a 5. You cannot have true RPG class variety in an MMORPG and have balance. There will be a best way. It's a 5. It's just not there. Now, within the open world, Final Fantasy, you quest through the world. It's amazing. You do tribal quests, side quests. You use them for job quests back when we had those. You're out there in the world. You're doing it. You're capping your tomes with hunts. You're doing the gathering. You're loving it. You're flying around. You unlocked your Aether Currents. Compared to other games and how well they use their open world as an asset, I would give Final Fantasy's current expansion. Oh, gosh. Oh, my. Oh. Stop. Oh. All right. Sorry. I jumped forth between Mac and PC. Pardon my bad key pressing. This is why I'm not good at games. Now, I'd give them a 3, but unfortunately, Final Fantasy XIV regularly, it makes every new player start at the very beginning of A Realm Reborn, which means you're going to spend a lot of time in previous zones. So shouldn't we go back and leverage previous zones? Shouldn't we go back and use every part of the game we've painstakingly made? Yeah, we should. I'm so sorry. You gotta lose at least 1 point for that. But we're in 6.0, and you're talking about doing a remaster, and you're saying, okay, you've done some really cool things in Bosja's Adnor, you have the tools, and you're saying that there is no way for those to come into this game. So I have to drop you down to a 1, my friend. I love hunt trains, I do. I do them now. I do it. But it's just not... I'm sorry. But New World. Well, they are a solid 7, and they don't have any legacy content penalizing them. You're never like, well, I wish I could be back in the starting zones. They're only a year old. Oh, it's awesome. But then you factor that the open world is also where PvP takes place. Oh, I'll give you a bonus point for that. Let's do it. Now, this is the scale of Brian. This is also the only categories. Brian decided the score sheet. He built this. So you're like, but Final Fantasy does this other thing really well. Nope. Brian is the referee. He has built our 5.5 categories. So we are trying to decide which game is the better one for Brian. This is not arbitrary. This is science. Spreadsheets aren't allowed to have lies in them. Casual Bis. This means the best in slot mount. This means the best in slot glamour. Everything that is Bis. I want to trade whatever the hell I do in the game for whatever the hell reward I want. And if you put it on the MOG station, I want somebody to be able to buy it, bring it in game, realize they didn't actually want it, and trade it to me for my progress. I do want to be able to get Savage Gear, Ultimate Drops. Does Final Fantasy do any of this? No. No, you can't get BIS gear. You can't. Now, you can get a lot of things in a lot of sources. She brought up some really good points about things like Shadowbringer's relics. You can get all the way up against BIS through things like tome gear and crafted gear. So I think as a casual player, we're going to put some points on the board, but this is not Final Fantasy's strength. It's just not. But in New World, there is nothing Brian has come across that he wants that he does not feel he can trade some type of gameplay with if he ups the theoretical amount of playtime to infinite. Oh. That's interesting. They do have, I think, some cosmetics and stuff they sell, so it can't be a perfect 10, but it's pretty freaking close. Pretty freaking close. I think something like Lost Ark is probably the closest thing in an MMORPG to a 10. If you swipe that credit card, you can get anything your little heart desires. Now, are dungeons dangerous? Dungeons dangerous. Historically, let's back it way up. Let's back it way up, like all the way to like 30 days ago. No. But we added Criterion, and I'm optimistic. Let's put that 5 on there. But if you fail Criterion, you don't get anything. And if you up into the harder modes, like Ultimate, and you prog it for 100 hours, you don't get anything. And in New World, you do. You do. So in New World, it's an 8. But it's only a year old. So after I beat those dungeons, I'm kind of done, right? So, you know, we got to ding you a little bit. I can't penalize you for being a year old. You're getting older at the fastest rate you can, but come on. We got to ding you a little bit. Now in PvP, he said, I'm loving crystalline conflict. I'm loving it. But he didn't say, I'm loving that Rival Wings is back. Frontlines is amazing. I love the open world PvP that doesn't exist. He didn't say that. He didn't. So we'll give it a solid 5. Now, he talks about liking open world PvP. He does. He likes the open world PvP. He loves that you can have unfair engagements. He loves that there's effects on the open world from PvP. That choices that are made in PvP affect the way everybody plays, even the people who don't like PvP. Okay? And he loves that about New World. But it doesn't have the small man mode that he does over here. Now, he got to do some small man stuff against the devs and stuff, but I don't have anything like crystalline conflict. So we're going to score New World as a 5 as well. They're both doing, but put together, they are the 10 that he is looking for. All right. Let's see where we're at. We've got the Brian score. The Brian score on the Brian scale with the Brian definitions. We have... Hold on. Stand by. I want this font to be the right size right from the get-go. We have the sum of this through this. Yes. 18 points? That's more than 14. Uh-oh. 40? Why the hell were you ever playing 14? As soon as New World released, I can see why you slowly became upset. But throughout this, I feel like Zeppela and I might have accidentally, occasionally, even though it seems like we both tried, brought up another game. We brought up another little game over here, way over here, way over here, just over here, just all the way over here. Now, real quick, it's another game. Brian doesn't know what's going on over here. He doesn't know. But let's score it against his scorecard. And let's see why sometimes I'm a little frustrated when he talks about these things like New World is changing the planet. I'm excited to play New World more in the next year. I'm excited to play New World next week. But let's see how high above a base score of 6 we can get. Let's see. All right. Player economy. Do they have a healthy market board? Do they have a healthy number of sources of items that are used regularly from across all types of content? I would say they do. I would say they do. Okay? I would say they do. Right? Now, within class variety, do they have different builds? Do they have a lot of player choice in this? And do those builds change over time and create variety of experiences while allowing you to play the way you want to, when you want to? And if it forces you to level more than one character, is it incredibly alt-friendly? Oh my god. Oh my god. I would say yes. And I would think that the fact that I can still clear any content with any class at any time, even with things that are not the meta, I would think that's good. And from my limited time in New World, I think they might actually offer more variety than New World, because New World's still in the process of adding weapons and stuff. So I'm going to give them New World score +1 because they've got more classes. They've got their 9 classes. Each class has a spec for each expansion. And then across those, there's different builds and options. And then you're swapping out different weapons on the left side. You have a bunch of choices on the right side. And let's give them an extra point. But remember, within class variety, if class variety is your goal, you really need to be, when I see people starting to compare MMORPGs and class variety is their goal and PvP is their goal and loot variety is their goal, I start to ask why you're in an MMORPG and not an action RPG. When you start to get into games like Lost Ark and Path of Exiles and games that can really shine in that way and don't have to really worry about balance to the same degree. Now, how's the open world in Guild Wars? Now, this is out of 10. So I don't think I'm allowed to put something, something like a 69 or anything like that. So I think we're going to have to just score it as a perfect 10. We're just going to have to score it as a perfect 10. I'm sorry the score is a little low. It's a little low, but it's a perfect 10. It's the single best open world experience in any multiplayer online video game ever. I'd love to play others so that I can know just how many games are below Guild Wars 2. Now, I want all rewards from all things. I want all rewards from all things. Actually, in Guild Wars, you can do a lot of this. You can do a lot of this. But because the sheer number of rewards that it's built up over the years, I think you would focus on the fact that there's still some time gating in Ascended. There's still some mount things that are a little hard. The fact that you can acquire things off the station, you can trade gold for gems, and you can take the gems to buy what you want. I think that's pretty good. Let's call that an 8. Let's call that an 8. Are dungeons dangerous? Well, they have a fractal system. They have a fractal system. And each day there's dailies, and so you can work your way up that system by partially pushing through it. But their fractals aren't perfect. And their raids aren't perfect. But they're getting better. They're adding modes that are kind of an LFR normal mode type equivalent that are meant to kind of put the echo on a various fight each week. There's some weird things about that. It's not perfect. It's hard to introduce that later. I don't think dungeon content's my favorite thing, but I do love running my fractals. I do like when I've been invited to raids. I've enjoyed my time. The base dungeons are pretty immersive. The amount of voice acting is honestly staggering. I'll give them a 7. The fact that they let their dungeon content fall on the ground is kind of sad. I think it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Now in PvP, what he liked about New World was that it could be open world, and that you could own this territory, and that the people on your server or in your free company or in your guild, I like that that has an effect on the status of things. And that's worth 5 points. Now, I like these small man modes where it doesn't really matter what I bring and healers aren't the be-all, end-all, and I get to kind of go in and experiment, and it's fun and it's fast-paced and it's available at casual and it's available at ranked, and there's all sorts of neat rewards. And I just like the feel of being in this small man mode that's just chaos for chaos' sake. Uh-oh. What's 5 plus 5? What's 5 plus 5? Holy crap! Why the hell are you not playing Guild Wars? You're killing me, man. You're killing me. Why is Brian not playing Guild Wars? You're crushing my soul. I understand that October 25th, 6th, whatever today is, my watch died. October 26th, 2022, for Brian on his scale, with each category being gauged on his explanations, that New World is a better fit for Brian today. I understand that. But why are you not playing Guild Wars? Now, he tried Guild Wars and he didn't like it. And I see some people in the chat realizing that Brian didn't design this scorecard to be used as a scorecard by which to determine the best MMO for Brian. He designed this scorecard to be used to answer the question what he's liking about New World right now today compared to Final Fantasy XIV right now today. And so Brian has a couple of things. The first thing is Brian loves narrative. He likes feeling part of the world. The second thing, Brian will not play anything without native, on board, ready to go, from the get-go, controller support. The next thing is that Brian sometimes sits downstairs with his kids, hanging out with them. They're doing their own thing, but he likes being around them. He wants to pick it up, and he wants to play it on his Steam Deck. He wants it to be on console, and he wants cross-play, cross-save of all things at all times. And the last thing that Brian and I actually always agree on is dollars per hour. How much value am I getting for the money I put in? How much am I getting for the money I put in? So, we're going to need a new Brian score because we've introduced a new player into the game. Clearly, on the New World versus Final Fantasy field, Guild Wars could elbow its way out there and kind of beat them up, but it wasn't even supposed to be at the match. So let's come down here and let's score this bad boy on a much more generalized, is any new MMO going to be for Brian? Will he like Ashes of Creation? Will he like the Riot MMO? Would he like World of Warcraft? When we bring other MMOs in, as Zeppelin and I did, as people in their chat did, as people here in this chat did, there are other games. Well, narrative for Final Fantasy XIV, according to Brian, right? Not shocking. He's a 10 out of 10 out of 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. It moved him. But, unfortunately, it doesn't have voice acting, and it is required of new players, which means if a new player says, hey, I just want to try the raids worse and play with my friends, but I'd love to get to story at my own place, he doesn't like that. He doesn't like that it gates it. So he had a 10 experience, but because of various elements, he is aware that it is not perfect for other people. So he's going to ding it just a little bit, in my opinion. Now, New World had a dreadful initial thing, but they're adding story. They're fully voice acting it. They're starting by kind of doing their ARR equivalent the first half, and they're going to build it out. But it's not really there, and it's not meant to be Final Fantasy XIV. It's not a narrative-based MMO, and I don't see how, even with voice acting, it is ever going to score above a 5. I just don't see it. I don't see it. But Guild Wars has full voice acting, and you can do it at your own pace, and it is written to be enjoyed. And there are extra seasons for it. There's all sorts of cool things. And they give you a ton of it for freaking free. So that looks an awful lot like this, except it is voice acted. And there is actually player agency throughout it, where you get to make some choices. And there's replayability. And it's available to players like my brother who doesn't like narrative, still cleared it because there's cool things that you get to experience through it, cool battles, and there's cool rewards. Well, my God. That sounds like right up Brian's alley. Now, Final Fantasy XIV is bar none, the best crossplay, cross-save MMORPG on the market. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. And anybody who's matching it is not beating it. They're matching it. They're matching it. But I'm sure some of you can guess what is going to happen next. Brian has been asking for something from Final Fantasy XIV that Yoshi P has said, I want it. And there were things in the way, but there aren't now, and I would love to do it. And a guy named Phil, who would also have an effect on this, has said, I want it, but there are things in the way, but those have been removed, and I would be excited to have it. There's nothing in the way. There's nothing in the way. And yet, for some reason, this game does not run on an Xbox. Well, crap. We were so close. Now, hold on. New World console support. He likes to be able to play on his TV. So, does New World come to console? New World is reportedly bringing New World to PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo. But as of today, can I play it on my Mac? No. Can I play it on my Xbox? No. Can I play it on my PlayStation? Mm-mm. Well, what about my Switch? No. Can I play with people on other servers? I mean, maybe one day. Yeah, we're working on that. I'm going to give it a 2 because it doesn't stop the Steam Deck, and I think you can do, like, GeForce Now, but it's honestly just... what the hell? Guild Wars 2 just released on Steam, but it is not crossplay, cross-save, and for some reason, a combat system that only has, like, 12 freaking buttons does not run on controller. You're crushing my soul. It used to run on Mac, and now it does not. They finally supported Steam, but it's not crossplay, cross-save, so somehow they've done worse. Somehow they've done worse than New World. Well, that's weird. Now, in value per dollar, you have to buy each expansion if you want to play them as they come out. As of now, you just buy the starter edition and Endwalker and you're in, so it's like $60. And the free trial with the critically acclaimed Heavensward is a ton of content. So in value per dollar, let's just call Final Fantasy XIV a 5 because we need a middle number. So we're just going to set that as the bar, and then we're going to let these guys fall in line, because I don't really know how to determine that. Brian and I view a video game as worth it if for every dollar I spend on the video game, I get at least 1 hour of joy, and we're even willing to push through non-joyous hours to get to those hours. And so MMOs end up being pennies per hour. This genre is just the best bargain in all of entertainment. So we're going to set 14 as a 5, because we got to start somewhere, because otherwise these are all just 10s and 11s. But New World is you buy $40 and you get access to everything they ever do. But New World free trial. Is there a New World free trial? How do I try it? Well, they've said at some point you're going to be able to get a free trial on Steam, but not today. So, there's no subscription, there's no expansions to buy, but you can't even try it. So it's not a 10, but for $40, it is a solid 7, maybe 8. We'll see how they price expansions. Pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. Now, Guild Wars 2 has multiple expansions. They let you play all the way to level cap for free. And then they give away their living seasons fairly regularly. If you're playing, they give them away during. They've given away past ones. They've given away because they built up to this expansion. The expansions regularly go on sale. My biggest frustration with Guild Wars is when they have trouble assigning resources to something, it's because, in my opinion, in part, that Guild Wars is absolutely terrible at asking me for money. There is no game I have ever played where you could extract more value for less dollars than Guild Wars 2. And Josh Strife Hayes said that too. And that guy knows a lot more than I do, and wears a vest. Wow. 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 I think the free trial of Final Fantasy XIV is enormous. I do not, however, think that anything you experience while leveling alone, not being able to create your own groups, not being able to trade on the market board, not being able to try PvP in ARR and Heavensward shows you things like the Shadowbringer and Endwalker narrative, shows you what the current end game feels like in things like Party Finder raids. You're not going to be doing a whole lot of things like hunt trains. I think you miss out on enormous portions of 14. So it is a lot of hours to try the free trial, but it's not really a good representation of the reason that people put so much time into Shadowbringers and Endwalker, the two most recent additions to the game. Now, I skipped a category here. Final Fantasy XIV is bar none, the single best controller-supported RPG I have ever played. And among MMORPGs, it is the BIS. There is no beating it. New World's pretty good. Guild Wars, for some reason, native. We're only talking native. I don't want to hear, I installed and configured some third party. No, nope. There is no controller support. This explains why Brian did not leave Final Fantasy for New World the moment New World came out. Why didn't he quit long ago? He's been covering New World since before it released. He wasn't sure it would beat 14. It was high enough to give it a try. New World has no native controller support? Brian has been phrasing it to me. Are you telling me that I have this wrong? I cannot. He has talked about this. Holy crap. Holy crap. Well, now I don't know why he gave it a try. It's because it's on Steam? Oh. All right. Sure. Solid middle of the road. It doesn't require any effort on his part, but it is not good. It's fine. Okay. Thank you. You scared me. I was like, doesn't he play it with a controller? But here is why he doesn't give Guild Wars a shot. But I think it's higher. You want to just manually alter these arbitrary scores so they're tied? I don't think it deserves that. Now, Guild Wars recently came to Steam, and you said, but Chris, Guild Wars came to Steam, so shouldn't it get whatever New World gets? Shouldn't it get that? No, because he already has a character in Guild Wars, and it is not cross-play, cross-save. So he was so pumped, and he goes, oh my god, I'm going to play Guild Wars. But he has to leave his character behind in a game that is incredibly account-wide. So if you fix this to be cross-play, cross-save on Steam, still PC only, automatically it blows the doors off. Why would you have Steam support in 2022 for an old game and not have cross-play, cross-save from day one? I don't get it. It's why 14 for a number of years said they wouldn't go to Xbox because they couldn't figure out the cross-play, cross-save until that got removed. Like, I just, for a while, that was the reason until Xbox and them both came out and said that's been removed as a reason. So even down here, I don't understand why he's not trying Guild Wars, and he did. This is the should Brian try it. This is the I have tried it, will Brian stay? So all of that makes me wonder, why the hell is Brian not playing Guild Wars 2? And I don't mean that directed at Brian directly, because Brian can do whatever he wants to do. But there are people out there that play games the same way other people do. And they have the same values and the same goals and the same amount of free time and resources and hardware requirements and preferences as Brian. And he makes guides. And a lot of those people in the comments are like, that's what I want. So why is anybody who is using the Brian scorecard and the Brian value method not doing Guild Wars? Maybe it's because to Brian, controller is actually that. Maybe controller support to Brian is actually so freaking important that that's what happens. Because I will tell you, this is big. This is big. It's massive. Maybe to Brian, this particular category is out of 100. Brian didn't seem to mind the way WoW looked. Brian didn't seem to mind the way WoW felt. He talked positively about Classic when he played it. But I think, ultimately, this is the only justification. E-Theme, and you bring it up a good point. Maybe out of all these scales, Brian just cannot visualize controller support as a 1 out of 10. Because if it doesn't have controller support, Brian's eyes just glaze over. So, and this can't get controller support for Brian specifically because he already has existing characters. And you can imagine it's incredibly frustrating to have, he bought some extra character slots. He has multiple characters at cap. Brian has like, I think 2 or 3 level 80s. He has multiple, he bought extra monetization things on an account that he bought the expansions for. Because Brian doesn't want to set up some third-party crap that's not just let Steam handle it. He has been told over and over, it's very easy to get third-party controller support for World of Warcraft. It's very easy to get third-party controller support for Guild Wars. It's very easy to get third-party controller support for whatever game your little heart desires. And if these were the only ways to play with controller support on the market, to Steam support or to use a third-party thing, this would be fine. Except that there are games that just work. They just work. And Steam gets really close to that. But this just works. There is no, yeah, Final Fantasy controller support's really great after you install. No, it just works. You've never used it? You could hop in and toggle it over to controller support today. He plays on PC with a controller. It doesn't matter what platform you're on. You could do it today. The hardest part is how do I set up my keybinds to make controller feel as good as something with 9,000 keys? And you know what? Brian makes all the controller guides for Final Fantasy XIV. So maybe you guys are right. I still struggle to see why Guild Wars 2, if they could just fix this.